Well folks, welcome back to the workshop to another power tool repair video. Looks like today we're doing a Makita power tool repair video. Just got a box of broken tools in here and we're going to see what we can get fixed up out of this lot. And they're all Makitas. What have we got? Two Makita drills. That's an old one actually. Two different types. Two cordless Makita grinders and one corded Makita trimmer. Right. Let's see what we can get fixed up here. Or at least let's see what can be fixed up. Right, let's start with a regular one. A Makita Cordless grinder. A brushed one. This is the DGA452 from 2021 it looks like. Low on power and spluttering. So normally we know what that's going to mean. And this customer might know that as well. Someone has already tried to open this and this cap's missing. That's already gone. And that's gone. Somebody's already tried to get into it and couldn't, because them brush caps are melted onto the brushes. So same old, new end bell, a new set of brushes for this one. It's not all that old, doesn't seem to have done an awful lot of work. I don't think this fella has actually dropped ones in before, so I don't think I've had these brushes replaced before. So I'll see if I can fix this. Like I say, these are a brushed machine. When they're dogged or overworked, or they get too hot, the brushes overheat and they melt the plastic brush holder. Or they overheat the brass holder that holds the brushes, and then that's held in by plastic. And the plastic itself starts to melt. And that jams up the brush, causing it to run very slow and splutter like this, until it eventually stops working. You can't really save that brush holder. Yeah, see, it's still in good enough shape there. Comb bar is nice and shiny, it's not blackened at all. It's be fine doing it in this one. But you definitely do a bit of a clean. So this is a problem. At least that's what I'm assuming. So yeah. It's melted there, melted there. So these are all stuck in the holders and not moving down. And the caps are melted on too. So get rid of that, replace it, and replace the brushes, the caps as well. And we'll just give these a quick wee blast of the compressor to clean them up. Clean them and get some parts. Brushes. An end bell. Yes, that way round. And a few caps. This is one of the quickest and easiest repairs you can do on any tool. It's not all that expensive. You could even get the parts on Amazon and even AliExpress. They're very cheap on AliExpress. Obviously probably not genuine, but only a few plastic parts and brushes. Pop that on. Drop on your field. Close it up. What could be easier than that? Now this repair you only get away with maybe 1 or 2 times until you have to replace the armature. Because obviously these things overheat. They work hard on the copper on the windings here, which means next time it'll overheat a little bit easier. So they'll not do as hard a work before they overheat the next time. So every time you do this, they can do less work. So they just become useless. So once or twice is all you can really do. Any more than that, you're going to get no work out of it at all before it does the same thing again. That's not sitting right, though. Just that wee air deflector and light. Just wasn't sitting square. Just make sure this little rubber is on the end of the bearing as well. Don't lose that. Make sure this is centered here. There's very little grease in these gearboxes. Don't be going putting much more on. A pea size if you want to put anything onto it. This is only a brushed machine, cordless brushed machine. Doesn't have massive amounts of power. Too much grease on, it's too much work. Too much extra work on the machine. This thing will never do enough work to wear through the gears, grease or no grease. So don't be worrying too much about the grease. Different story if it was a corded machine. These cordless ones aren't going to do all that much. I'm also going to need one of these too. Notice these here now. New packet, look, these used to be red. Change the packaging. But look, the brushes as well. They're a little bit looser. So they must have made these a smidgen smaller. Shaved off half a hen's ear to make sure they're not as stiff whenever they overheat. Or must have been to cause it to not stick as easily from this problem. That clip as well doesn't exactly fit as well anymore. For some reason they've changed that too, look. So it goes on and it clicks on, but it doesn't hold. So that spring is actually stronger as well. It's one thing you have to give Makita credit for. They're always upgrading parts, even on an older tool like this. I think these things are just going obsolete by now, but they still try to keep the parts working properly. Obviously they didn't get this one exactly right. They should have reinforced that clip as well as just the spring. But that's not the biggest deal because you can still get it on. See? It's actually a good job. Still clicks on, but it just doesn't have enough power now to overcome that spring. The cap will soon hold it on. Just as long as you don't bend the contacts on it. One new cover. These are just so that you don't burn your hand when you do overwork these things and melt them brushes. Melt into the plastic, so obviously if your hand's on that, it'll also get hot. Much better. That's the first Makita grinder up and running. Now we'll mix it up and go with the drill next. could be a switch. Battery's working, contacts, getting the light. Could be a switch. Could be a customer's problem, customer mistake. See that? Because this change lever is not right, that's not to do with why this isn't running, that's a separate thing. It'd be unlikely to have two problems in one. Right, there's the actual problem. It's the brushes. So she's just ran through a set and somebody's opened it looking for more problems and didn't put it back together again right. It's totally gone, worn all the way down to the line. Obviously that must be what the line's for. May as well open the rest of it now to see what's going on with that change lever. I'd say somebody might have opened it. Lost a wee spring or something. Screw missing as well. Yeah, exactly what it is. What's going on there, Somebody's cleaned this as well. Cleaned the armature and didn't think to change the brushes. That's still strong enough. The red mark goes to the top. This little notch goes to the bottom. But there's the problem with the gear change lever. There's going to be two springs either side of here, and they're missing. Make sure they're not inside the gear, but inside the body. Like I said before, Makita don't actually do spare parts for the gearbox, but I should have some. Pretty sure you still can buy these. It's not part of the gearbox, it's part of the wee lever assembly. But I still have some old parts for some of the older drills you can get bits for. Some of them are sometimes interchangeable. Old ones like these here completely gone now. Not often you go into the Makita drill box for bits of the gearbox, you know. These just sit on top. You just sit on there. These don't actually lock it into the two gears. So the actual gear selector just slides back and forth. It's just loose fitting. It's these here little springs that actually hold it in place. So they click on to these two spots in the body. The springs aren't there. There's nothing to stop it from just changing gear on its own. Now, that'll fix his mistake. And for cheap too. And these springs cost pennies. I also need a new screw as well. But we might have a second hand one of them somewhere too. The second hand one will do the job. Now, brushes. CB440 for these ones. spring got away, look. Snap that back up again. That should be alright. That should be all this thing needs. Brushes wore out and he opened it up and cleaned and checked everything else but the brushes by the looks of it. Brushes are the number one thing that eventually wears out. They're a consumable part that will transfer the power onto the motor, and they're designed to be rubbing against the motor as it spins, so eventually they wear away. Change them and she get up and running again. That's her. One Makita BHP452 from 2017. 2 new wee springs and a new set of brushes. Now for the other grinder. Sounds like the same thing. Might be able to salvage these caps though. Yeah, I think they're gone. As you can see here, that's the plastic from the brush holder melting through. So that end bell needs to go too. There's not as much damage done on this one actually. This one's done more work, mind you. That's 2021 as well. So was the last one. See there? The brushes, a melted holder, or a blow-on control board. It's always the same thing with these. Look at that now. It's going to need a clean, but the armature looks good. Still nice and bright, not discoloured or burnt. That's just where the brushes themselves are actually running. That's just graphite from the brush. Don't bother trying to clean that. It's not going to make any difference to the way the machine runs at all. You're not improving anything. It's just the graphite from the brush. You clean it off, you smooth it out, it's nice and shiny looking. You put the brushes back in and switch it on, and it's instantly back again. Because that's the brushes running on the armature. The only time you ever do anything with the com bar and the armature is maybe if it's all bumpy or something, or worn badly. You can sometimes turn it on a lathe to actually flatten it off again. But you wouldn't be doing that on a cordless machine like this. That needs a clean as well. These are actually quite tidy on the inside. Normally they come in bog and dirty. So get rid of that. I'll take this out again and clean it with a compressor. There goes the cap. Fun finding that again. too bad. Now, not too bad in the grinders anyway. Make sure that's down. That should do the trick. These brush grinders, they're handy and they're cheap, but they're not for heavy work. If you are using them from anything heavy, you need to let the grinder do the work, not be leaning onto it. For the odd wee cut, it's grand. For anything more, you need the brushless ones. They're a lot slower as well. They don't run as fast. There's a big difference between a brush grinder and a brushless one. If you're needing the power and the speed, you definitely need the brushless one. I have the wrong brushes now, look. The 440s for the drill, not the 430s for the grinder. So these are the older set, look. Still have some of these. See if there's much difference in them. Colour difference for a start, look. These must be the ones, some of the newer ones as well that was on it. These older ones have more copper finish. See? They're a little bit tighter, not tight, but they're just not as slack. That spring feels the same. I don't know if it's the spring or it's the clip. Because when you push that on these ones, they stay on. I think it's the spring that's a little bit stronger. Or maybe it's both. And yes, I know I'm going in reverse to start. Going the wrong way, but if you turn it the wrong way, especially with brush caps, it lines everything up. It's very easy to cross thread these and put them on crooked. Go backwards first till you hear it drop onto the thread, and then go forward. And that's it. Another grinder. That's two Makita DGA452 grinders from 2021. Same faults, same repair. Right, next up we'll go with the drill. An LXT Makita drill. Now this is an old one. A BHP452 from 2008. I have a sneaky suspicion this ain't going to be fixed, or can't be fixed. Yeah, definitely. This has been lying up a long time, and you can tell straight away by all that green corrosion. Where's this thing I got? We got this in the last tool order. This actually might come in handy for this. I got this in the last video there. I ordered some tools at Tool Monster, and I wanted to try out some of their good vessel screwdrivers, all flats, because these are meant to be very good. And I ordered this because it was expensive, thinking it would be the best one. But it's actually a scraper, look. Instead of a flat bottom, it's got a point. So it's more of a scraper or a chisel. It's actually a handy job, but it might be good for this. Look at that. Knife will do the same thing. Not even a file, put that there. Yeah, it's not great, but it does it. Now obviously I'm not going to be leaving it like that. Actually it won't get on there. Where's my wee file? Don't know where it is, I'll just use this one instead. I just want to remove this corrosion to see if it works. So that'll be stopping it from making contact. If it runs, I'll actually replace this battery retainer, because this is worn through the chrome finish with a silver finish on it down to the copper, so it'll corrode again extremely easily. Still nothing. Still the old star on it as well. It used to be up here in the badge. Right, still nothing. I think this has been lying in a shed or something, or it's salt water. Either it stopped working or it hasn't been used in years and it's no longer working. Yeah, definitely. Look. Corrosion. But them brushes are actually still moving. There's no reason why that shouldn't be running for them. So in other words, there has to be corrosion inside too. It's actually been a while since I had one of these on. Actually a nice wee drill. So they're still moving down. This has been lying up somewhere damp. Hasn't done very much anyway. Gearbox is all still clean. Look at the rust in that. Bad looking, but it won't affect the performance. Stator's on here, but that'll affect it. Well, it'll affect it if it was rusted on, but clearly that's been wet and just sitting in moisture. Expecting the switch to be blowing or all green or something, but it's not. Let's see, it is the switch though. It's not even putting on the LED light. She's doing squat. This will have nothing to do with it, but I'm going to test it anyway just in case it's a bad bit of contact. I don't know if that's soldered or what. Just corroded on. These are the wee basic contacts now. They only have the 2 prongs, just like the wee cheaper copy drills or these Milaf ones. These are what the older ones used to be. They didn't have the little metal prong as well. Now, we'll see if it does anything. Nothing. So right, that switch is gone. Or the LED could be gone, I suppose, but I would suspect the switch or the wee MOSFET's actually blowing. And then it also needs a brush ring. Right, price the switch and we'll see, because it's not done much work otherwise. And this is just cosmetic. That armature should be okay. Right, price the switch and see if I have one. Right, I have a switch in stock. That's the part number there. Not much point in looking it up though, because this is actually obsolete now. So this is the last one. And just out of curiosity's sake, I want to see if this is going to work or not. Seeing as it is the last one anyway, we'll probably not be getting another one in. So might as well just give her a go and see. Don't need to do anything just yet. We just want to test the LED first. Because the problem could well be the LED law. There's corrosion on this side. We'll see if it works on this side. This could have been sitting submerged to all I know. See if that runs now. Or not runs. Let's see if it turns the light on. There we go. One light is a good indication that that's it fixed. So I'm going to go with that. Chance it anyway for the last BHP452, because it's unlikely we'll be getting another one of these on. We still need to transfer over the heatsink. Wee smidge of heat paste down on here. Which way is it going now? This way. That is just to help dissipate the heat from this MOSFET. This is why we're doing all the switching. This is what controls the speed. Basically, it's just switching on and off. That's what gives you your variable speed. The switch is telling it how fast to do it, and this is what actually switches. So as this is actually switching, it's generating heat. That's what this aluminium plate is for. That's for actually dissipating the heat to cool this down. But obviously, just sitting on top of each other, they're not going to be making full contact. So they make better connectivity to make it more efficient at distributing the heat. You put thermal compound in between, so it basically just sandwiches it together. So it's in more surface area contact, so it keeps it cooler much better. I'm also just going to give that a wee quick wipe. It's not actually dirty inside of here, but there is a little bit of rust. That's it, basically ready to go, apart from the brush holder, which again ain't looking great. We do, but these wee springs here they're badly rusted. And the actual brushes themselves are corroded, but they're not actually gone, nor is the holder. I'll tidy that up. I'll put new springs on that. I'll just give them brushes a quick wee file. That'll help cut the cost of this down a little bit. So that there will be another €6 or €7. New brushes will be another tenner. So we can get rid of that. Right, so that's that cleaned up. Just a quick wee wipe with a damp brush and then a dry one. And just give the brush holders a quick wee rub of the light file. And that's it. And also just give the body a wee quick clean it as well. Didn't actually put it through the parts washers, only up around here that had a wee bit of rust on it. Only just wiped off. Leave that out for now because we have to get the motor on first. That should be that. The other thing is these. I'll just give them a quick wee clean. Basically, sanding block on the outside, that'll do, and just give the inside a wee bit of a wipe. Because this isn't actually metal, this is just the magnet inside. It's very easy to clean. This is mainly just cosmetic to make it look better, maybe just in case it doesn't fit under the housing. That rust sort of drops in the wrong spot, might jam it up. I'll just make sure by taking it off. Clean the inside too. Clean that out with the compressor now. And we'll also just give us a quick wipe. It's only the steel that has a bit of rust on it. By the looks of it, this has been lying up for long enough that any water that was on it should be dried out. The windings should be fine unless they're all corroded and green, but it's not, so should be okay. Motors are actually fine if they get wet. It's not like there's an electrical component inside of these, it's just steel and copper windings. If they get wet, it's not a big deal, as long as you don't run it when it's wet. So if this is very soaking wet and you run it, you're going to short it out, burn stuff, and then you're going to burn the connections and burn the wires inside. If it gets wet and you let it dry and then run it, it's absolutely fine. It's not going to do any damage at all, unless it rusts and actually rusts onto the stator. But this should be fine. Right, I think that should do the job. I wasn't just throwing bits around the place. That is fitting on here. There's normally a little red mark, but it's gone now because I sanded this. It's going to be sitting up this way. This would have been the red mark here. Just going in that direction. Just put the motor on that side. One thing not to forget, a lot of people, this drops out on them and they don't know where the hell it goes. This here is the wee detent for setting your clutch on your gearbox. So these here, they're not even the clutch, sorry, the mode selector. These three wee dimples, they actually click into here. That part, just drops in there. Look. It's one of the more basic Makita drills, you get them. Don't see them as often now. Now this is only just getting a new switch, bit of a clean, and a second hand brush holder. That's it. So it might be expensive for the switch, but at least the other bits will keep the cost down. If I had to replace everything else, it might not have been worth it. I'll just, don't need to do this, but just because it's old, I'm just going to put a wee dab of grease in here. Doesn't actually look that bad, but we'll put a little bit on now, and only a little bit. At least the grease is clean. Sucked up inside. Now, that should keep this thing running, or at least get it running, and keep it running smooth. And the bearings in this too are also fine. That's not right. That's better. Bearings, will get away with them. Didn't actually rust on the inside. Then we just drop this all back in. Click it in. Drop in your wee MOSFET. It just wraps around the field there. What about the springs too? I'll have to find replacement ones for them. It's not that you can just go out and buy them, but there'll be plenty of scrap ones lying around. Be able to pull 2 springs out of. There's one of the different brush rings out of the DHP452. I have a few of these brand new as well because I scrapped a couple of them off. 4 parts. But the one thing you never need to replace in them is the brush ring on the 42. This is actually better quality plastic. This is a thermoset plastic, I think. These never burn. They're not like this here nylon one. When they get too hot, they start to melt. These never ever melt. This is a second hand one anyway. But even though I have new ones, I probably never even use the new ones. You just never, you need to replace them ones. But the little spring is the same in both. And they are actually sighted as well. The wee spring is up the very top here. Just bend it around, lift it up and pull it at the same time. It's a little bit awkward because you have to lift it up and take it around at the same time. But if you lift it up too far, this little end will actually come out, so you have to hold it down and lift it at the same time. We just set it on there. one. That's two. I'll also just give these a wee quick rub. Shouldn't be anything actually wrong with them. Just a little bit grubby. The brushes can actually corrode themselves. They'll get a little bit of a green tinge. It'll actually be a little bit harder on the brush, but you can just file it off. As long as they move in the holder, they'll be fine. See, that one's got a wee bit of corrosion. A light skim is all you need. You don't want to take anything too major off. You want to change the dimensions. That should be her. That should be her for a 2008 machine. 17 years old and still running. It's the chuck I was actually the most worried about, but the rust is only at the very tip. Doesn't go the whole way on. That's her. Now, it doesn't run very fast because this is a smaller Makita drill, this older one. This is basically just the second model up from their smallest drill, the one that has the DC motor inside. This is like the next step up. A wee bit more powerful and runs a little bit faster, but nowhere near as fast as the likes of the brushless machines or the BHP452 that you would normally get on for repair. Good enough, just not all that fast. Actually are a nice wee drill. That's it. One switch, second hand brush or battery thinner, and a wee bit of a clean. That gets her up and running again. Must have been the water that just got onto that. Now, get on to the last one. Right, last up in this box of tricks is the Makita trimmer. There's a corded version, 240 volt as well, and one that was on before. It's an old job number of mine. That's around 5,000 machines ago. That's about 2 years ago this was on before. Right, let's see what's wrong with it. That's a bearing. Yeah. Just a bearing. That's tight. There we go. Interesting to see how much wears in this armature too. Because obviously this must have done quite a bit of work. She's actually a 2011 machine, 14 years old. That spindle's well used anyway, and that's tight. very tight. There's a wee bit of damage in that thread. Still spins though. As long as it still goes on and tightens up, it should be alright. Even if it's damaged. For the price of 2 bearings, it'll still be worth fixing. There's the problem. Now, can we save it? That's the question. Because that's been gone a while. Totally disintegrated inside now. What is that? Plastic. No, safe enough. I think. No, may as well use the new pliers. This is what they're bought for. Getting into deep, narrow holes. That's if this thing will come out now. Can we save it? Even the rubber looks to be melted. You see, this bearing's not actually sitting against the plastic housing. There's a rubber sleeve over the top. We packing sleeve, that's what's in the bore to pack it out. So whenever the bearings do feel like this, it's one of the reasons I like the Makita design, is when they feel like this here, obviously it's running around, but they start to burn and overheat. You can see the discoloration in that bearing. That got roasting hot. If it was in the plastic body, it just would have melted the body, and you have to replace all this. But because they're on a rubber sleeve, it doesn't burn as much. It's just heating up the rubber, but it doesn't melt the plastic. And even if it melts the rubber, you can simply replace the sleeve instead of redoing all of this here again. But when they get this bad and this hot, sometimes I can still melt this rubber. And if it does, you'll still have to replace the housing. Unless you can get it out. That might do. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. Just take out the old bearing seal as well. See, that is what that little rubber seal is for. It's just to protect the rest of the housing. So we might actually get away with that now. Right, that is a wee insulating washer on top. It's only a piece of plastic. That's disintegrated, but don't worry too much about that. It's not essential. The main thing is just the bearings. Now that's if this will come off without disintegrating on me. Yeah, we're good. Oh, this bad, sometimes the balls will just fall out of it. You'll just be left with the inside race. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that one's gone. Assume that was a 608. Nothing left of that. We can look up the breakdown diagram now. Changing one, might as well just do the two. That's actually gone anyway. That's a 6002. No, it's not a 608. It must have been a 607. 1607. And I actually have got another sleeve. So this is the bit that actually melted. That's sitting on there. Normally, it's the rubber that saves it. But these ones do have a hard plastic piece inside at the very bottom. That's what actually melted into the bottom of it. That's why it wouldn't come out again. Break away the wee hard bit from the body of the machine. And it actually popped out. I'll just press this on as well. Don't press it on too far. Little plastic air deflector washer is actually missing from it, so you can't press this on too far without it. So just go on a wee bit and then stop. I'm sure you just be sticking out a few mil and that's enough. You can also replace the little washer as well, but we're not even 100% sure if this is going to work. So we'll just replace what we need to for now. Plus I wouldn't actually have that in stock. Definitely have to order that button. Squeeze all that back in again later. Make sure those cables are tucked back. Now to see if it'll go on. Look at that. Now you got a wee connector for your LED. Make sure you're putting that on the right way around. You don't want to spend too much on this because at the end of the day, this thread in the armature could be damaged. I wouldn't want to go put a new motor onto this. Not at this age. Just see how badly worn they are. Might just replace them. Not badly worn, but I'll just replace them anyway, just in case. We could get away with the old ones, but I don't think they'll last another 2 years. And if it gets 2 years out of these bearings now, it'll be worth replacing them. Brushes aren't expensive to replace, but having your machine on downtime and actually getting it packaged up and sent on for repair, and then paying somebody labour then to change the brushes, does work out expensive. So if you can get away with it, changing them when they're on the first time, it'll actually save them money in the long run. That's tight, but it still tightens. Look at that, already up and running. It's actually quite amazing what these wee machines can endure, the amount of abuse they can take. Even with that bearing completely collapsed and melting onto it. 2 new bearings and a set of brushes. And it's up and running again. You couldn't beat that for Makita. Generally, that's why I always recommend them. You actually get your money worth out of Makita tools in the long run. Anyway, folks, that's it. That's that wee box of tricks, all fixed up. And this time, everything was actually fixed up again. I know it's only a couple of simple fixes, but it'll save these customers having to go out and buy new machines. But anyway, folks, that's it. That's a wee box of Makita tools, all up and running again. As always, folks, hope you're enjoying the videos. If you're liking them, make sure to drop us a wee like down below. And if you want to help out the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe or hit the hype button there as well. But till next time, folks, I'll chat to you all later. Cheers!